One of the major things that you have to do if you're in a relationship with a narcissist or you're experiencing a discard from a narcissist and you're in that post relationship phase, you have to make sure that you get grounded in reality, because odds are if you've been with a narc or the relationship is over now, you have been gaslighted for a significant amount of time by a master manipulator. You've been in an alternative reality where you're with someone who is always right. You're with someone who's above you, who's superior. You're with someone who never takes accountability for their actions, and nothing is ever their fault. You're with someone who manipulates and blames everything on you, who guilt trips you and tries to control you in order to get their needs met, in order to get what they want, which is your sacred energy and your attention. They will do anything they can do to get your power. And your emotional attention is their currency, and that's what they really want. You may be in it for love. You may be in it for the American dream, to start a family, to never be alone again, to spend your life with somebody that really loves you and someone that you can reciprocate that feeling to, that life to, that commitment to. Well, they're not in the relationship for the same reasons as you. They're in a relationship for control and power. They just want your attention, and your attention is their supply. Your attention, whether good reactions or bad reactions, that's what they want. When it's over, or if they're taking a break, they're not missing you, okay? They're just missing the control that they had over you. They're missing what you do for them, which is giving them your energy, giving them your attention. When they get caught doing something wrong, they don't regret it the same way we do. They don't feel guilt the same way we do. Their consciences are seared, all right? When you walk out that door on them, they don't regret what they did to hurt you. They regret losing the supply that you gave them, all right? And all supply is not created equal, but that's a whole different story. But what I want to get to, there's something about the realization of realizing that they never loved us, okay? That is very liberating for a lot of us. And it's actually something like an epiphany that we get to realize that really lets us out of a cage that we have outgrown. And the thing is, it's not that they didn't just really never love us. I mean, that is the reality that we have to get grounded in. But what really liberates us from that captivity that a narcissist has you in, it's realizing and understanding and doing your research so that you can get it in your brain that they don't have the bandwidth to really care about us. They don't have the emotional capacity to really love us, all right? And that's what's so liberating about this realization. They don't have the ability to love us, okay? What we thought was loyalty and persistence, it was really a performance, okay? They're just doing whatever they have to do to get what they want from us. And I know that it's kind of hard to register. I know it's a big pill to digest, but when you really get that, it's not personal. It gives you freedom. It gives you your autonomy back. You're able to reclaim your power. You're able to reestablish your dignity, and you're able to revisit your values and your morals and your standards and start working on your self-worth again and to have discipline again. When you realize that, hey, it's not personal. It's not that I'm not enough. It's not that I'm not pretty enough or handsome enough or slim enough or fit enough or I don't do things they want me to do the way they want it done. It's not any of those things. It's just that you are their supply. You're a resource. You're an object. You're a generator that they get power from, that they get energy from, okay? Think of it as oxygen, all right? Your attention, your sacred energy that you're giving to them, this is what they're after. This is what's important to them. This is what they want. This is what they don't want you to know. This is probably the number one thing they don't want you to know, because they don't want to jeopardize that oxygen tank getting cut off. They don't want to jeopardize losing that attention that you give them. That's what matters to them. Sex is not the main thing to them. They're not really looking for a long-term relationship. They're not on the search for love or looking to feel some need to be loved like a healthy-minded person is. No, that's not what they're about. They want to have someone that they can control and have power over, because they have unimaginably low self-esteem. They're very insecure, and they need attention. They need people's energy like you need to breathe. All right. They need validation and admiration all the time. Their insecurities are so low that they don't even want to be alone. All right. They start panicking when they lose supply, okay? This is why they're not faithful to anybody or loyal to anybody, because they're petrified of ever not having supply or ever being alone. So they always got a backup plan. And most of the time, depending on where they are on the spectrum, they probably have a bench or a roster or a team of supply to ensure that they never get left alone. But if they really, really believe in you and really get themselves a grade A main supply where they don't have to worry about, and they know you're not going anywhere, they may have little windows of time where they just deal with you when they feel safe, when they know they have you totally under control. But you will find out that it's really a pseudo love. It's really not real whenever conflict happens. They don't work well through conflict. Okay, because conflict requires you to take accountability. The true purpose of conflict is to resolve issues. Conflict is not a bad thing. All right, when used correctly, conflict will bring couples closer together. All right, because you get to see that even though we have our differences, even though we don't always see eye to eye, even though we had a disagreement, even though there may have been an offense or an emotional assault made on one person out of the couple, we can get through that by communicating, by using our relationship aptitude to work through problems, and then we stay together. And what does that do? That builds security. That makes both people believe more and more in a relationship, and they feel secure, they feel stable, because we can go through something and still stay together. That's the way conflict should be handled, but not with the narcissist. When conflict comes and it takes, getting some things resolved, some issues rectified, it takes confronting some behaviors and having some kind of accountability and compromising and having compassion, they don't want to do that, because that's an attack on their fragile ego. So they would rather change partners than to confront any bad behaviors that they have. They don't want to deal with the shame of the choices that they make. And that's why they lie so much. All right. So they would rather just discard you or take a break from you in order to just experience the novelty and the thrill of being with somebody new. All right. But the whole point of that was to let you know that love endures. Love never leaves you nor forsake you. Love doesn't switch up on you. Love doesn't change. Love is playing for keeps. All right. That's the evidence of love, that when things get hard, love doesn't dip out on you. All right. Love is fighting for you. And if you are a Bible believing person, you can just look at 1 Corinthians chapter 13 and find out, according to scripture, love never fails. Love is undefeated. All right. So whenever someone takes a break from you or discards you or is trying to get away from you, you best believe that's not love, because love is not trying to walk away from you. Love is trying to walk towards you. All right. The only love that's going to walk away from you is someone that loves you, but they're being abused. And even when they walk away from you, that doesn't mean that they don't love you. It just means that they had to protect themselves. All right. The whole purpose of this message is not for you to feel bad, not for you to feel like your time was wasted. No. Let me encourage you and let you know that your pain was not in vain, because if this wasn't a blessing, then guess what? It's a lesson. And that means you're always winning. If you're always learning, you're always winning, and you're never losing, because you're taking something away from it that's making you a better version of you. And that's what life is all about, growing. It's all about progress. It's all about leveling up and going to the next level and upgrading yourself spiritually, psychologically, and physically. It's about loving on yourself so good that someone who means bad for you or has ill will toward your bad intentions, they can't reach you anymore because you've outgrown that frequency. Glory to God. They can't reach you anymore because you're not on that level, and you're not willing to shrink yourself again to be with somebody who is just pretending to care about you. The thing about someone pretending to care about you, pretending to love you, is that they can't keep it up. They can't keep that act up for long, all right? And you got to forgive yourself, because if you're dealing with a narcissist, you're dealing with a master manipulator who is good at what they do. And they've had plenty of practice at it, okay? And I understand that it's hard to draw this type of conclusion, because you were there. You were there in those in the midnight hour when y'all were making love and they were telling you how much they love you. You were there when they were promising you the moon, the stars, and the rivers and the mountains. You were there when they were saying that you're all they have. You're all they have, and that they never want to be with anybody but you. You were there. You heard it. You felt those feelings. You were there when they told you you're the best that they ever had. All right, you were feeling those things, and you were there, but they were just mirroring you. Mirroring meaning they were just being the person that they know you would want to have based on studying you, based on being around you. They weren't there to genuinely give you love or be loved. They were there to control somebody who was really better than them. They were there to conquer a mountain, all right? They were there to drain your power to feel better about themselves. When you really understand and accept the fact that they don't even really have the emotional capacity to love us, when you understand and receive and let it digest that they have very little to no empathy, and they don't even have the neurobiology to care about us, okay? When you understand it's not personal, it's liberating, and it frees you from the emotional captivity that they have you in that causes so much heartache and despair and unclarity, all right? That causes you so much worry and anxiety. That emotional cage they have you in, that you have to shrink yourself in order to stay in. But the good news is, if you outgrow that cage and you start loving on you, You start speaking to yourself right. You start treating yourself right. And you start not allowing yourself to be treated any kind of way. You grow into a different version of you. You grow into a better version of you. You grow into a version of you that's out of their reach. You're no longer bringing them up to your level, and you're no longer meeting them where they are. You're going up so high that they don't have the psychological, biological, or emotional capacity to reach you. It's time for you to be the best version of you. Stand on business.